This has been a rather eventful day with President Donald Trump, particularly with the help of his son, Donald Trump Jr. Um, let's start here. I think anyone who has listened to me for any amount of a time understands clearly that I always allowed for the possibility of some type of Russian collusion, but I also was patient for evidence. Yeah, I was willing to be patient to get evidence because I thought that that was just in best in good form, right? As people who consider ourselves to be journalists, people who consider ourselves to be, how do we self-describe ourselves? It doesn't matter how we self-describe ourselves. We have the responsibility to try to be as ethical in our reporting as possible, and so it was not asking too much for us to be patient for some type of evidence, right? I don't think that that's unreasonable. But now evidence has come out. Now, specifically, what that evidence speaks to, well, that is a question, right? What does that evidence actually speak to? We'll see. Collusion, direct collusion. Is it a smoking gun for collusion? Well, at this point, it's just a matter of the law, right? We're really at the point of deciding of a court deciding if this constitutes, not really a court, but right, the Bob Mueller's investigation, whether or not this is a form of collusion. It most certainly seems like a form of solicitation that is solicitation specifically that is illegal according to campaign finance law. That's number one. I mean, I think that's most important. I think that's because in the emails, and hopefully you know what I'm talking about, but I have to allow for the possibility that you haven't seen the news yet and you want me to inform you. That being said, it really is, or really has been, an amazing day where Donald Trump Jr. thought that he was going to exonerate himself in some fashion, and he ended up implicated himself with a chain of emails, and in that chain of emails where he thought he was sharing with America the fact that this Russia thing, and the email thing, particularly with the New York Times, was a big nothing burger. But in reality, he ended up exposing just how deep, one, how stupid he is. Can I take a step back? Donald Trump Jr. is an idiot who, either he is an idiot or his attorney is an idiot, and probably both. But why would you release, besides the fact that the New York Times had it, why would you voluntarily release damning information? I mean, if it was me and somebody was essentially, promising to out me and say that I have some information on you, I'm going to make them work for it. Put it out. Put it out. You're not gonna cause me. But Donald Trump Jr. felt that it was in his best interest, and I think he actually believed that this was somehow going to help his case, when in reality, this hurt him in a very significant fashion. Okay, so the email chain that he shared today was an email chain between he and Rob Goldstone rather. And this was an attempt by Rod Goldstone to set up a meeting between Donald Trump Jr., Jared Kushner, and Manafort with a Russian attorney, an attorney connected with the Russian government. And expressly in the emails, Rod Goldstone, whatever his name is, made it clear that this is information of the highest order coming from the Russian government, and that it is in connection with the Russian government attempting to support the Trump campaign. I mean, damn. There was no way possible that that the Trumps could misconstrue what was being said and suggested in the email. Now, people are trying to say that this somehow that because he had the meeting and he had the meeting, and subsequently, or allegedly, nothing came of the meeting. They're trying to say that, oh, well, this can't be collusion. It can't be collusion because this woman was a nobody and she didn't really have information on Hillary Clinton like the original email stated. Okay, let's play this scenario out. Let's say that the FBI sets up a sting, and they really don't have any intention of arresting, of actually buying, rather. They don't really have any intention of actually buying this stolen product that you're being investigated for, but you come to them because they expressed their interest. And because they expressed their interest, you are now soliciting someone to buy this thing from you. So are they not going to arrest you simply because they didn't truly intend to purchase this stolen item? And I don't know if that makes the analogy actually makes it any clearer, but the problem is that the problem for Trump, rather, is that it doesn't matter whether this Russian attorney had any intention of really divulging damaging information on Hillary Clinton to constitute collusion, number one. But also it doesn't matter because Donald Trump Jr. went in with the expectation that he was going to get some damning information from the Trump campaign, or from Russia, from the Russian government, from an attorney directly connected with the Russian government, and he was expressly told that this is an investigation, or rather, this is information from the government on behalf of the government's attempt to help the Trump campaign. And now, to come full circle, whether or not this is collusion is a legal question. Everyone's speculating at this point, unless you're an attorney, and unless you've tried this type of trial before, you're speculating. And it's a legal question whether or not it constitutes actual collusion. It seems to be a clear-cut case of solicitation based on solicitation of a foreign government for assistance in an election based on FEC rules, which makes that illegal. Whether or not he got anything, he actively solicited information from a foreign government, which in many ways is an in-kind contribution to your campaign. And so there's a strong possibility that if nothing else, whether this meets the legal definition of collusion, there's a strong possibility that this actually is going to be illegal based on campaign finance reform. I mean, I waited for the Clinton email scandal. I didn't really discuss that until there was clear evidence that there was meat on the bones. So I was patient there, and I was patient with the Russia emails or the Russian investigation because I wanted to find actual evidence that would support anything. And we're talking about two different things here. Right, we are talking about collusion versus something, and this something probably is an FEC violation. That probably is going to be the place where they stick it to Donald Trump Jr. But we were waiting for evidence of something. And what we got today was clear evidence that the Trump campaign was fully aware that they were being assisted by the Russian government to help them win this campaign against Hillary Clinton. Now, let's address the people who don't believe that this is anything, right? There are some people who don't believe that this is anything. They'll never believe it's anything because even though they said they were waiting for evidence, the reality of it is that they were just never going to believe it anyway. But there's some people who are saying, well, this is not, and this is actually Michael Tracy of the Young Turks, because I'm using his quote directly. I might as well say his name. He stated that, well, this is not evidence of some grand master plot of collusion with Russia and Vladimir Putin sitting there pulling the chains. No, it's not. Okay, I got some people in the YouTube saying that Donald Trump Jr. didn't break any laws. I want to see your law degree. Show me your fucking law degree, because it is a legal question at this point. Look up solicitation underneath the federal the election commission, and you will see that it is illegal. I'm going to get back to my other point, but I want to address this question, this comment directly. It is illegal for campaigns to solicit assistance from foreign governments. Now, this email 100% looks like that's the case. And so it is a legal question, not something that you could just dismiss because you don't like the DNC. Get the entire hell out of here. What's wrong with you people? It's not something that you could dismiss just because you don't like Hillary Clinton. I don't like Hillary Clinton. Hell, I've been waiting on evidence the entire time. But what we have here is an admission of guilt from Donald Trump Jr. And you got people saying, oh, he did nothing wrong. Man, if you at this point still think that he did absolutely nothing wrong and everything is copacetic and everything is up and up, then you have been drinking the Kool-Aid. You have been so propagandized around this election that you can't even bring yourself to admit that this email from Donald Trump Jr., this email chain constitutes a possible illegal activity. Now, I'm not convicting him because I'm not a goddamn lawyer. I can't tell you. I can't tell you because I'm not a lawyer. But what I can tell you is that based on my research and based on the research of plenty of other journalists, he is treading a fine line of actually having committed an illegal act, particularly around solicitation from a foreign agency, from a foreign government. Miss me with all this. Oh, yeah, but Hillary. Hillary Clinton's not the president. Hillary Clinton's not the president. Hillary Clinton is not the one who had the relationship with the Russians. This is not about Hillary. Even if Hillary Clinton is 100% guilty of soliciting information from the Ukrainian government by proxy, of going to the Ukrainian consulate or embassy, and so the campaigns looking for, that's what's being floated around. They're saying, oh, this can't possibly be illegal because if this was illegal, then Hillary Clinton did it too, and this is Hillary Clinton, she's in trouble, so let's talk about Hillary Clinton. Okay. If you take the time to talk about Hillary Clinton and point out that Hillary Clinton's campaign did something similar and something that was illegal, then you have just conceded the fact that what Donald Trump Jr. did was illegal. Now, who's in office, who's in power, and who do you think is going to get caught up first? See, today, and I tweeted this on Twitter, today is going to weed out the people who were genuinely skeptical and waiting on evidence before they jumped the gun, and people who were never going to believe the evidence in the first place. That's what people who were never going to believe the evidence no matter what. And there are people who still now are looking at this email chain and saying, oh, there's nothing there. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. All right. Anyway, I'm actually reading your comments. I'm actually reading your comments, so I don't have time for Marilyn. I'm going to have to just mute her momentarily so that I can see other people's comments. But no time for stupid in here. Marilyn can come back after the after I get done with this conversation. She's just trolling the comment section right now. All right. So that's it. Now, again, does this go to Donald Trump? I don't know. I don't see how it's possible. I'm going to get back to Michael Tracy. Don't trust me. I didn't forget. I don't see how it's possible that Paul Manafort, Jared Kushner, and his son, Donald Trump Jr., all knew about this meeting in, June 9th of 2016, all knew about this meeting, and Donald Trump didn't know. But that's not something that we can answer. That's something Bob Mueller is going to have to answer. That's number one. Number two, whether or not, even if he knew about it, whether or not Donald Trump knowing about that actually constitutes an impeachable offense, that's actually, at this point, I'm actually going to speculate on that. I think that's slim to none. I think we're in the slim to none range, whether or not Donald Trump knew enough about this and what he knew constituted an impeachable offense. So my money is on the fact that actually that Donald Trump Jr. is falling on his sword in order to protect his dad. Any good son would do that, right? All right. So this is the most, I think this is, how long have I been talking about it? I know I started about 10 minutes, 16 minutes. This is the most you've heard me talk about the Russia investigation in the entire last year, 16 minutes. 16 minutes because I viewed it through the lens of skepticism, but I viewed it through the lens of skepticism not because I didn't want to believe it, not because I felt like I had to tacitly oppose that narrative because that narrative somehow supported the Democratic Party, and I hate the Democratic Party so much that I couldn't possibly support any narrative that would underscore and support the Democratic Party. No, I waited for evidence because shit, that's just what I do. You know how many stories I go across? You know how many stories of police brutality I go across every single day, and I refuse to even tweet about it until I get more evidence. You know why? Because I like what I do. That's why. So 16 minutes is the longest you've ever heard. 16 minutes and 52 seconds is the longest that you've ever heard me talk about this. Why? Because now we actually have evidence. And Donald Trump Jr. is so dumb that he is actually, God forbid, he's actually making some of the dumbest people on the neoliberal center sound like they might know what they were talking about. I mean, think about these people. Think about these people who've been saying the most ridiculous thing. They really make it sound like, I mean, shit, Donald Trump Jr. I mean, I don't mind you going to jail, but I don't need you to validate Louise Minch. Like, for the love of God, can we not go that far? Could they just stop long enough to get in trouble, but not validate these idiots on the neoliberal center, like Louise Minch and the other dude who said it's time for some game theory. Can we please just avoid that? Because I'm not interested in those people being right, because I don't care if they're right. They're fucking insane. Back to Michael Tracy's tweet. And he was talking about the fact that this doesn't prove any grand conspiracy. Well, that's the thing. That's a convenient straw man. There's absolutely no need to prove a grand conspiracy. If he simply broke an FEC law, then he's going to have to pay the consequences. Period. And besides that simplistic look at the law, it's clear that everything that Donald Trump Jr. said, denying any connection. I mean, first they denied even meeting with anyone, knowing anyone. Then Ambassador Kislyak, Sergei Kislyak, came out and said, well, I've had meetings with him. And then all of a sudden now, from Jeff Sessions down to Jared Kushner, had to admit to meeting with Russians. And then it changed and said, well, that's the only guy we met with, nobody else. And then it changed to actually, well, so you did meet with someone. And then they changed the subject of what they met about. And we really weren't meeting about anything but adoption. And then it comes out that actually, no, you were meeting with them about getting damning information on the Clinton email. I mean, at some point, we just have to slow the narrative down and say, he was dumb enough to release this. Let's be dumb enough to at least look at the information and evaluate it on its merits. That's all. And evaluating on its merits brings us to the conclusion that this is a legal question. It's a question that that Bob Mueller and his investigative team is going to have to answer.